Hello, everyone. I hope you are all well. Let's see who we have today. David, Francis, Liam, Colette from Austin, Texas. Nice. Marcus here. And we already have a question in the Q&A. Thank you, David. Let's give Flo a couple of minutes to join. And sure, David, no problem. We'll get to your question for sure. Hey, JP is here. You may have seen JP's Twitter post. It just feels weird saying exposed, so we can just say Twitter for now. Doing amazing work designing really gorgeous UIs with WeWeb. I can learn a lot from you, JP. And actually, I'm on my to-do list for the week. I need to write the user docs for the new sound plugin. So yeah, I'm sure you have nice designs for that too. All right, let me check in with Flo, see if he didn't forget about us. Ah, there he is. So, Flo, promote to panelist. Lucas joining us as well. Shahid. Hi, Flo.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Joyce.
And oh, I forgot to let me enable the chat for everyone. That way, if you just want to chat amongst yourself, feel free to, use the chat. And if you have questions, the Q&A will be better, easier to manage. Though I have two screens today, so hopefully it goes smoothly. All right, let me start with David. David, are you ready to jump on board? I'll promote you as a panelist so you can share your screen and walk us through your workflow. Hi, Bertrand.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, David.
Hi, Joyce. Hi, Florian. Thanks for helping me. So let me share my screen. Sorry, maybe a very stupid question, but yeah, it's the best of my ability, what I'm trying to do. So you helped me a few weeks ago to do that, and I have a new requirement now. So basically here you have checkboxes on this page, which as you tick, you see here the array on the left-hand side selected object is getting populated. And then as you click on submit here on the right, I would like that to add more. So those are inputs. This is text, and that. And then what I would like to do now is add one information and the same for the rest. So I go into add, but I met every single time. So that's why I'm here today, trying to see if you can guide me on how to do that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Did you get that, Flo?
So I missed the part you did not understand. When you are editing in here on the line, you need to update somewhere something.
So yes, basically, from the page before, I get the value, you know, selected of 0, 1, etc. And then I would like to enrich this array with this information. And I wonder if what I need is an object, but I didn't find how to do that. So on the left here, you would have option 1, and then below the name and the amount and the date, instead of just the name of the option.
So I
So
guess
yeah, you're on the right track in the sense that right now you have you have an array of strings, a list of strings, and you're on the right track that you need an array of objects.
Okay.
so you can do that immediately from your previous page when you are creating the selected object. You know, you add option 1, option 2 for the selected category in here.
Okay,
Select the
so
options.
let's just
And
refresh.
Instead of
No, it doesn't work like that. Sorry.
oh, no worries.
Yes, I'm all ears.
Perfect. So if I remember well, we made a global workflow together to do that.
Yes, that's correct. It was this one.
Okay, perfect. So in here, instead of just adding a text inside an array, let's immediately add an object instead. So can you select the change variable value action in here? So you see in here, you select the array and you add at the end a text. So I guess in the edit formula, you have option 1, option 2, something like this. Well, the event value maybe. Can you select? Can you click here? Okay. So in here you are. Okay, perfect. So in here we are just adding the text. But what you could do instead is to add an object here. So you can do it easily with the formula if you like. So you have two ways. If you are yes, exactly. Create objects and first the label. So keep the option name and before that type in between quotes option name. So ideally you don't add spaces in the keys of your object. So you can do something like this.
Yes.
And no capital, it will be easier for you to select. Remove the O capital for option.
Ah, thank you.
You can do something like this. It's better practice. Okay, and now you can close the parentheses. And if you so do the same thing, I think I don't remember what is doing the other one. Yes, this one.
It's not contain.
It's removing. Okay, perfect. Yes, please select it because maybe it's not. Yeah, this one won't work because you need to find. An object instead. This one I think won't work. Give me a second. Well, you can try this, and I will find out how to do this one. Just give me a minute, but you can try, and you will see the difference.
Should I test it then?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So yes, I see now the label, and let's say I untick this one. Yeah, it adds one. It doesn't remove.
Okay, and so now if you go to oh, why it's 3 times the same thing?
Because I clicked 3 times.
Ah, yes, and we didn't fix the other one. Okay. Just for the purpose of this exercise, yeah, could you refresh? Just select option 1, option 2, and 3, and go to your detailed page.
Okay, so I refresh the page.
Yeah.
And selection, I select 1, 2, 3.
Okay, perfect. Now go to your submit. Yeah, perfect. So in here you should see, yes, 3 lines, perfect. And now what you can do, so let's see how you bound things. So you may need to select the text, the label here, and change this binding. You can click on it, yeah.
Mhm.
And instead you see you need to select option name instead.
So it's this.
No, 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 no. It should be bound to the list. Can you scroll to the top? It should be the context of your line. Why don't you have any context? Can you show me the container of this one?
Yes.
The columns? Yes, this one is not bound, so it's not linked to your variable, right?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, so before we go on, what do you want to do at the end of this?
I want to send all these 4 columns times the number of options selected to the database on Xano. It will populate columns,
Okay.
and then I will reuse them in the later on.
Okay, perfect. You did this table yourselves, right? With the group?
Yes, so I tried with the table, but it was the elements repeated. So if I enter 100 here, it was 100 on all the lines. So I wanted to avoid that. That's why I have a dedicated column for each row.
Yeah, but in here you're going to repeat with your variable. You need to do that. Otherwise, it would be too complicated for you because it's dynamic. You need to bind to items.
Ah,
If you don't do
okay.
that, it will be a nightmare for you to manage.
Okay. Sorry, I have no clue.
No worries. Just it's for you. It will be much more easier. So keep your table so you can get it. But just for this table, so go to select the container. No, it's not this one.
Okay.
It's
Collection list.
yes, this one. Perfect. So you can bind items now and bind it to your variable. The variable select object. Yes, this array.
Okay.
Perfect. And so as you have 3 items, now we have 3 lines. And now if you select the text,
Yes.
yes, this one, and bind now that text, and you have the context. You see the
Okay. Yes.
first key, option name. And now you've got option 1, option 2, option 3. And so what you can do is to do like you did on your table on this line. And on your input, you can create a workflow on change, and you can update this variable. And so it will, you will update your source of truth. You will add more labels, more things to this line. Does that make sense for you?
I think so, but I'm not sure. Yeah, not sure. Don't want to take too much time for the other people, but yeah.
I'm trying to think of can you send me a direct message in the community, David? I will think of I'm trying to think of different Academy videos that could be the most helpful to you. I can't think of one off the top of my head because the one I think of is using the data grid.
Yeah.
But if you want to send me a direct message, I will think
Yes.
of something for you so that it's easier for you to take it step by step.
Yeah, thank you.
Would
Because
that be okay?
yeah, that would be perfect. The thing is here, I remember there's no variable names on the left, so that's why I created these one by one. But yeah, I'll text you then. Thank you so
Cool.
much.
Yes. And
Thank you.
take a look to the data grid. Really, it's the
Data
maybe
grid.
yeah, it's
Okay.
a better element for you to do that. You've got inline
Okay.
editing automatically, and it It would be you've got a dedicated trigger every time a user is updating a row. You can update on them automatically. It would be
I'll
much
send
more.
you in the chat. Let me find it now. Or I'll send you. I'll send you in the chat for the video for the data grid. But don't hesitate to send me a DM in the community.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Thank you so
walk you
much.
through that. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, David.
All right, so we had a question from Rolette. Here we go. About the best practice for a page that is used for both when you want to create a new item and edit an existing item. So right now in new mode, the collection tries to be fetched and results in an error in the API.
Sorry, I clicked join as a panelist, and I think you were continuing to read my question.
No, that's fine.
I just didn't hear if you finished.
Yeah,
I
we
can,
finished.
I can share my screen and show what I mean, but basically I am trying to not do one thing multiple times, but only once. And I have a page that I'm using as either new or edit. And the difference is, so what I did is I created a trigger, like a page workflow, where it checks if it's new or not. That just checks if the ID is either new or zero. And if it's either new or zero, then it goes into default mode of the page state is set to new.
Okay.
But what happens is when I land on that page, by default, the collection, how do I go back to that? So, because I have a collection, which is a single config collection, and that one is set up to auto fetch. So each time I land on the page, it fetches, but it fetches with the configuration key of undefined, because there is no key defined, because it's a new item, not a edit item. So my question is, how do I stop it, or should I even care that each time I land on this page, I get, and we can...
Can you go back to your page workflow?
Oh, sorry.
So you need to initialize your variable before fetching, right?
Well, but I'm not going to have the variable period, because if it's new, I'm not going to have a key for creating that new item. The key gets created after I submit it.
So you submit.
Because you can see now in Xeno, this is basically what happens. It's it goes to the API configurations, but then it sends undefined as part of fetching the collection. And I don't know how to prevent it from doing that.
Okay, let me just try just to be sure that I understand. So basically you are here, you have your form, you submit the form, it creates an item on Xano somewhere with an ID, and you've got this endpoint where you need to use this ID that you need to trigger on another page, right?
But after it exists, when I first land on this page, it's a new configuration. So it basically, it needs to wait for me to add the configuration before it fetches the collection. But because the collection is set up to auto fetch, by default, as soon as I land on the page, it tries to fetch it. But at that time, there is no key that it can go by, because it's a new item.
and you need it to auto fetch because sometimes it's to edit.
Yes.
But in your workflow on page, you check if it's new or if it's edit, no?
Yeah, but that's where I was trying to figure out, because if I disable auto fetching for the collection, then anytime it's not gonna fetch, and then I have to worry about fetching it all the time. I was
Well,
trying
then you
to,
have to worry about fetching it when it's an edit, not when it's new. So I guess you could trigger the fetch collection, in your workflow. When it says new, you don't fetch the collection because you don't need it. But when it's edit, you fetch the collection. Does that make sense, or did I misunderstand your?
oh, it makes sense. I was just trying to understand if basically I have to give up the automatic fetch in order to not have this problem. It sounds like yes. And then I have to worry about fetching it myself.
Yes, like
Because you're using it in other places of your application, so for you it would be easier to use the auto fetch.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, I think you won't have any choice.
Okay, I was just
You
wondering. I was
cannot, yeah, you
wondering.
cannot prevent a fetch. Let me think if I have a solution. No.
And then I guess,
Yeah.
sorry, because the first question was, is it really, I mean, I guess it's bad practice to make an API call if you know it's going to fail, but is it really a problem? Was, I think, your initial question as well, probably, I think you mentioned that at the beginning.
Yes.
Or you could manage to, so Xano could understand a specific ID, so it won't return an error. And instead of when it's new, you add this ID, so the request will work.
Oh, so
Even
basically when it's new, like what would it do then? What would the return usually be? Just
200 with a status and nothing in the body, something like this.
okay,
You
maybe I
could,
can try that. So yeah, if it gets undefined as the value, it can just return
yeah,
200 and worry about it.
you could
Okay.
do that.
Okay, I will try that.
Cool. And I see you have another question about, you have a couple questions about components. Do you want to ask them now?
Oh, yeah, okay. So I was wondering if that is possible at all. So ideally, as I am working on my project, I would like to be able to create components in it, but then migrate them to a library. So right now, in order to create a new component, I have to consciously go to the library, create it as a component, basically update it from my project, and then bring the component here. I was wondering if there is a way for me to, in a way, say, swap component, where I can swap an existing component with something else. So for example, and that's even actually for the default use case. So this is like a component that I have
Yes.
from the library. But if I want to swap it with a new component that might behave slightly differently, or the same, but it's a new version, I don't have a way to swap it. I have to basically re-put it here and apply all the settings all over again.
This is a great question. So you can't do that right now, and we know it. So this is in the pipe. This is a feature we are working on with an import export also feature. So you could copy paste component from somewhere, start from a component, an existing component in another project without having to deal with libraries and so on. So these two features are kind of linked. So yes, we're working on it. I'm sorry it's not ready yet, but for now you need to do like you said. But we are working on it. This is coming.
Okay, that was
Very
my
cool.
question.
Well, thanks so much for your questions. Both were awesome. So thanks.
Yeah.
And talk to you soon.
See you.
Uh, All right, we have a question from Luke. I think I'm not sure if Luke wanted to share his screen or not. Let me invite you as a panelist, Luke, and you decide if you want to jump on or not. Yes.
Hi, Flo.
Hey, Luke.
Hi, Joyce. How are you? Okay,
Good,
so
good.
I have two questions. I'm gonna ask, hopefully maybe the easier one first. So if I'm gonna set up a paywall for like videos for this like learning management system building out for a product, like I'm gonna do the whole Stripe with integration. But I was wondering, and I just maybe don't know enough about it yet, but say for example, like a user logs in, one person has bought the like subscription to the video, and they share that URL to a person that's been authenticated and logged in. Could they see the video? And also, if that's true, like what other services can I use? I think like Cloudflare might be something you use to like try to stop that, but wanted to ask you guys first.
So yeah, I'm sorry, Luke. I'm not in great
Yeah.
shape. Could you say that again, please? I'm not
Yeah.
understood.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. So basically, like within this web app, I'm having like a learning management system. So basically, it's gonna have lesson plans for the e-skateboard do-yourself product we sell. So users can go in and buy this lesson plan, different curriculum. Basically, you're gonna integrate that with Stripe to have like the paywall for those different courses. But I was wondering, like, is it possible to have link sharing? So say like users logged in, has bought the product, can they share that URL with another user and get access to it without buying it? And then if that's true, if there's a way to avoid that, I think like one of my research, I think it's like community post something about Cloudflare, but I was wondering if there's a better approach to it.
So
This
in
is
your
supposed to be
use
the
in
easier
your
one. So
scenario, the person who paid for the course, they sharing their login credentials to their friend and the URL, or just the URL?
just the URL, or I don't know exactly like any way that I can get around just like with link sharing. Like, is this something I need
Well,
to be
I
concerned
mean,
about
for
with security?
video, I don't know if you have other ideas, Flo, but I like a lot of video services have that dedicated so that you can't. So first of all, if it's behind a login, if they share their login with a friend and access to the course with their friends, there's not much you can do about it, I don't think. Just like if someone shares their Netflix credentials, you can just
Yeah.
go on your account.
Subject,
But
yeah.
but then you do have video specialists, like I think Vimeo is one of them, and others where you can put the videos behind a paywall, and those are really dedicated. But then for your Cloudflare question, I'm not sure. I know Cloudflare is amazing and provides a lot of services. So if you found them in your research, there's a good chance they're doing it. Any other ideas, Flo?
No, I'm sorry. I don't know if it would just be speculations. So I've never done that.
Yeah.
So I could give you
No
another,
worries.
but I'm not sure it would be a good one. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and Wistia. Wistia and Vimeo, I think, both have like features that are very specific to gating content, video content. I haven't explored them further and I don't know like how, but I know that like video course creators, a lot of them use Wistia and Vimeo for that reason. That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay. That's great to know. I definitely need to do like more research on like actually setting up the paywall, but just looking ahead a little bit. Okay, maybe this will be the easier question. We'll try to speed through it. This was the initial one. I thought that one might be the easier, so apologies for that. So essentially, within this page, there's going to be some videos to be able to see. I'm just not logged in, but right now there's going to be, I have it set up where there's two workflows happening. So on page load and also on this next task. That's pretty much the only way you can navigate through this page. I'm restricting it to, once the video ends, then the next task button is able to pop up, and that sends an API. So right now it's set up with timers. I know you can have like the video playing end on the video player, but I have some other reasons why I'm using a timer. But essentially, the reason why I have two different workflows is my approach is that's the only way a user can navigate through this. So I need to set up a workflow on both to be able to account for that, just in case somebody hits next task, a timer is set up, but also if they refresh the page, a timer set up. The problem I saw is that with a timer, there's no way to like stop another timer. So basically, like if I hit next task, that's gonna set a timer. But if I like refresh the page halfway through, that set a timer, but that first one, is going to end, halfway through the video and allow the person to hit next task. I did post on community, and I think Alex responded, but essentially I heard there's like no way you can stop another workflow. I just wanted to validate that, because right now I have a pretty complicated way to have like a variable set up where basically on page load is going to take precedence that timer. Okay, so from that, I can say that's.
No, you won't be able to stop it, but maybe you could do it in another way. Can you show us how you create this timer, this workflow you'd like to stop?
Yeah, so I have the two ways. First, it's going to trigger on load. So now it's just like loading the next lesson, auto loading whatever's not been completed. And then once it gets to this multi-option split based off which lesson ID, it's going to start the timer for different lanes. And that's going to send an API after that. But right now I'm avoiding that issue with setting this load timer as active for page load. So it's basically turned on. It's going to continue to stay on until that timer ends. I'm just going to turn off, and the other workflow is on the next task button, which basically I'm setting a pass-through condition, which is going to block the next task button from being enabled if that first timer is active. If that makes sense.
Can you show me the condition on the multi-option split?
Yeah.
So I could really understand.
That's just what.
Yes, this one.
What lesson it is. So based off like if it's the first lesson, I know it's a 3-minute, 20-second video. The second lesson is a web game, so it's like 15 seconds.
What plugin did you use for the video? The video.
It's a S3 on a CloudFront. It's just a linked URL to CloudFront AWS.
Okay, perfect. But the player, the player.
Yeah, it's also linked on that multi-option split. So basically, it will be a video if it's 1, 3, or 4 lesson ID, and then it's gonna take away that.
It's the native player, right? The native video player.
Yes. Yeah. But the reason why I'm not using the video player for the APIs is basically to like access this page. Most use cases, if not all, should be redirected via URL. And I was having a bug issue where it won't autoplay the video if you're redirected via URL. Even trying like with support and everything like that.
Your timer is to save the progress, right?
The timer is just to. Oh, sorry. The timer is just to make sure like the video has been completed, because I'm not able to put the APIs on the video player.
what you're saying is like the events that come with a video play, you cannot use them because of that API.
Yeah, because the started won't autoplay, and I can't have scrubbing on the video. Like right now, I'm getting around that with having the timer where they can't
Uh,
go to the next
did-
task.
Did you create a bug ticket for the autoplay? Like, is it a
Yeah.
limitation of the API or is it a bug in WeWeb, according to you?
Bug in WeWeb and the suggestions that were made. Like I tried the unmounted right here, that didn't work. Unload, all that good stuff.
I think we need to fix
kinda just
that
gave
for
up
you
on it.
because I think we need to fix that for you because the workaround doesn't.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a nightmare for you in the long term if you need to figure out the length of each video and all that.
Yeah, I think right now it's like a use case that this workaround's fine. That's why I kind of gave up on the
Okay.
ticket. But yeah, it'd be great. It's really hard to test this too. Like
Can you
gonna be
can you send me
something
a DM with the link to your support ticket so I can maybe check with the team what's going on if they had a look, and if they had a look and it's more
Yeah.
complex than expected, I will let you know and maybe we can work on that workaround. But if it's a fairly straightforward fix, then I think we should fix that.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's a blocker for you. So
Yeah, I definitely will. But going back to the original, so there's no way to stop another workflow basically from
no.
conclusion of that. Okay.
No.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, thanks so much, Flo. Thank you, Joyce. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. And okay, so we have a question from Liam, who is starting out with WeWeb. So Liam, if it's I think it's maybe your first time in the office hours. So just so you know, I'm inviting you as a panelist. You feel free to share your video or not. And the idea is that, yeah, go for it. You can ask us your questions and we'll do our best to help out.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. You?
Yeah, sorry. So I've just started WeWeb. I've always kind of made like marketing websites and stuff, and I've kind of dipped my toes into like making web apps. Always wanted to do it, and WeWeb has made that possible. So what I'm attempting to do is basically there's only a couple, like a handful of companies that are album designers in the photography industry. And basically what I want to do is kind of take that album builder and build it on WeWeb. So I'm just hoping that there's some sort of like guidance of like drag and drop user experiences that they can have and how I would actually do that, if that makes any sense.
So you'd like to drag and drop items on your page, right?
Yeah, so
You'd
imagine
like
like
users to be able to do that.
Your users.
Yeah, so imagine like a photographer gets on their program, there's a big album spread on the front, and they upload their images, they drag and drop and put it onto the album, and then they can customize their front cover and stuff like that.
Okay, so this is never simple to to add the drag and
No,
drop.
I can imagine.
Um, okay, we do have something, but it's not complete yet. I think it's called, let me just make sure that it's called like this.
One thing that comes to mind while Flo's looking for that is I know a couple of people have done it in the community. So if you want to create a post in the community forum asking for help on this, it could be worth it, because I know we have a couple of users, 2, 3 users who've done some pretty cool UIs that way, but I'm gonna look actually, but I can't remember how they did it, if they explained, or if maybe, I think one of them developed his own like coded component.
Yeah, we have multiple things. So some of them made their own components for that. Others use some third-party libraries with the npm plugin. And others understood how the Kanban work and used in the Kanban, you've got a component called column, and you can copy paste it, and basically you can drag and drop.
Oh, okay.
So if you drag and
Oh,
drop,
we have we also have draggable.
oh, we made it. You made an element from it. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
stackable. No,
Stackable or draggable.
what's that drag out? Let me check quickly. Okay, we'll take a look to this, because normally indeed we should have this component available publicly.
It's called stackable. So stackable list. It's the same as one column from the Kanban. So if you go to the add menu and type in stack, you'll find that.
Yes, indeed. You're right, Joyce. So you could start with this one at least, but it's one dimension. So you won't be able, to have a grid with your albums, for example, and decide where you want to put it. It will be just one dimension. But it
So
will be
when you say one dimension, as in like
a list. You can reorder lists, but that list you cannot have multiple items horizontally and vertically.
is there maybe a workaround, instead of it being very specific to the drag and drop, they can basically they can still upload their images, and then there's like a preloaded template, I guess, where it has like a design on it, like placeholders, and then they click their image and it populates that.
You would have to do it yourself, yeah, if you do that.
Okay, yeah.
We're not really made for this elements. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's right. And the other question, just at the bottom, was I was kind of struggling with making the sign up additional fields. I used, I found one of Joyce's replies to on the community thread about using REST API instead of using the Xano pre-built sign up thing. And my API call just, I don't think I've set it up correctly. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Right. For that, maybe just for the community topics, make sure the answer isn't too old, because it's possible. I'm thinking that I may have answered that before an upgrade of the Xano plugin. I'm not sure, but it's possible. Do you want to share your screen? Do you want to show us what you have in Xano and WeWeb?
Sure thing. There you go. All my fields are gone.
Can you maybe start by showing us the endpoint in Xano?
Yeah. I just downloaded Opera. The WeWeb image uploader wasn't working in Chrome for me, so I was suggested to download this. Yeah. Let me just log in on Chrome because I can't remember my actual password. gonna stop sharing my screen a sec so I can open it up on Chrome. That's all right. Yeah. There you go.
Okay, cool. And so
So this is
when they sign up, you would like them to be able to enter their website and username or stuff like that. You want to,
yeah. I mean, the username isn't really necessary. I just put it in there just in case the client wanted that. So yeah, like
so
even I don't want the upload image on the sign up either. That was like more of like
okay.
a
Mhm.
upload your after.
And so if you go to the API endpoint itself, so in the API, I really love their new interface, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot better. They did a great job.
So here in the sign up, this one, yeah, if you can
This
open
one?
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
You see, you only ask, so the inputs, you only have name, email, and password in the
Yeah.
inputs. So you don't need to, I think on the WeWeb side of things, you don't need to use the REST API. I think you can do it with Xano Auth plugin. But before you do that in WeWeb, you need to make sure that here in the inputs, you have all the inputs that you want your users to update when they sign up. So
So
you need
put it all
to,
here.
yeah. So with this, for example, right now, so if you go back to WeWeb and
Yeah.
it should be that when
Oh.
you, so do you have the Xano Auth plugin installed? Yeah, okay, perfect. That's great. So if you go to your sign up form, the page with your sign up form, and WeWeb,
With
yeah, here
yeah,
we
this
go.
was just me testing it. So just
Yeah, no problem. So on your form container, if you go on your form container here, so in the layout, you have, yeah, on the form container in the workflow. Here, you can remove, you can delete that action and instead use, I think it will be called sign up. Yeah.
Yep.
And you see here, you have you have name, email, password. That corresponds to the inputs you have in Xano. So if you want, yeah, exactly. So if you want more, if you want your users to be able to add more information when they sign up, you need to first add the inputs here in this endpoint in Xano, then publish the changes in Xano. And then when you go back to WeWeb and you refresh, they will automatically appear and as options as fields that you can bind in WeWeb. Does that make sense?
So editing this, I need to make a new
We can
input
do
thing.
it we can do it for one column if you like.
Yeah,
So
so if you click on the little plus icon here, let's say text, last name. I think you have a field called last name.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be required, and there we go, and save.
it's okay.
Oh, and then just add, oh, that's very cool. So
Yeah,
then that'll
that's it.
correspond to the user database.
Not yet. You mean
Not yet.
Oh.
Yeah. Not yet, because so in add record, you see in the function stack, you have 4 lines. So in the third line, add record in user info.
Yeah.
If you click here, yeah, you see that here. So yeah, if you go down, you see the email. Oops, sorry. So you see the email.
Oh, sorry.
So the first column lists everything you have in your table, in the
Yeah.
user table, and then on the right, you see it's mapped to the input. So for example, if you look at email, it's mapped to your email input.
Mhm.
And so you could do the same for last name. So the line above, you could map to the input we just created. So here, yeah, you can just click on last name. Yeah, and you see it
Oh,
says
okay.
input text. So now if you save this, when you send a last name to Xano through the endpoint, it will understand. It's a little bit
That's very
difficult
helpful.
to show you step by step here because you need to learn a little bit more about Xano and a little bit more about WeWeb, but that's the logic.
Yeah,
And
no,
now,
that's definitely helpful. I
okay,
can
cool,
work off that then. I felt like I was
cool.
stuck with that one a little bit.
All right,
So
no worries. And if you
I could
get
definitely figure that out and
stuck
play around.
again, yeah, don't hesitate to reach out in the community. I'll try to think of maybe one of the videos from the level 1 of the academy could be even though we're using REST API, it might be helpful. Either way, we're working on a mini course, WeWeb plus Xano, so that will be coming in the coming weeks. But yeah, in the meantime, if you have any other questions, don't hesitate.
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. Talk to you soon,
Do I just
Liam.
leave?
Yeah, I'll
Do
change your
you...
role to attendee, don't worry.
Oh, okay, cool. All right,
Sorry,
thank you. Bye-bye.
the Zoom is a little bit clunky, so it takes me a few seconds.
No worries still.
All right, and Francis had a bunch of questions, so let's go with you, Francis. So issues with data refresh and delay. Well, I'll let Francis walk us through this.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, cool. The first issue I actually just managed to solve while I was listening to everyone else, so that was pretty sweet. It was taking an hour for data to get from Xano to WeWeb, and the thing was, we had no input assigned, but it was done through the auth. And for some reason, it was taking an hour to pull in data. So when I put the user ID back in and like pulled it from that, now it's instant. So that's pretty sweet because I thought that was going to be like the most difficult one, but I hope I don't go ahead and jinx that now. So the next one that maybe we'll look at first is we've got a support page and we have it as an embedded page with Outsetter. So it basically just shows the Outsetter support form. Works pretty well for me and everyone that's tested it. But then we went and showed it to the Android people and they're having all sorts of problems. So whenever they go to tap into one of the text boxes, the keyboard comes up for like a split second and then it goes back down again and they can't force open that keyboard. So this might be a problem for Outsetter, but I wanted to just raise this, see if you have any thoughts on this.
So it's an embed of Outsetter in the app, and you have the issue on Android with this.
Yeah, I can show you a little video if you like.
Yeah.
Okay, this is it. Hopefully you can see this video.
And this is okay. This happens when they click on anything.
Yeah.
Okay. And this form,
that's what I got.
And you created this form on WeWeb, or is it an embed form from Outsetter?
It's just an embed form. So I can't even see it in the WeWeb editor, but like in the app, it should.
Okay.
It appears like this for me on desktop, and it works for me on iPhone as well. But none of our team have Android, so it makes it kind of like tricky to
test.
test. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
We could take a look. Did you create a support ticket for this?
No, I have not actually.
So we only have 5 minutes left, so I'm thinking this might be better to like create a support ticket and we can have a look at one of your other questions.
Totally. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So my other question is I'm trying to create a subsort. And so my friend JP helped me with some of this, and we've got basically a sort on a data collection, and it's using JavaScript to do the sort. And what it's basically doing is it should be, let's just go here, let's sort by final score. The final score sort works. You can see final score 4.2, final score 4.1, and then some records won't have a final score. And some records will have a final score that's calculated on different numbers. So that's where I want to do this subscore. And that doesn't seem to be working, because if I go down here, there is a final score of 4.1, and that should be, that should be third in the list here.
Okay.
So I'm not a coder at all, but I just tried to basically pass into the JavaScript that that JP had already made a subsort. So let me see here if I can open this up and maybe expand this a little bit. And so I've got the subsort in here, and when I look at the current value, it says subsort applied, and then it's showing me, the correct subsort that I want. But it doesn't seem to be working.
Can you show me the where you bound the lists? Where you apply no, so sorry. Yeah, no, wait, can you scroll? Can you scroll? Something I don't understand.
So these ones are just for like different tabs. So right now we're on the bud tab, and so it would be, these are the labels that are in this drop down. And then whatever labels there I have, we have them bound to like sorts on the data collection.
And the value, for example, the final score, but vape, that's a value in your database?
Yes. So that score there, for example, is this one here, this 4.1.
Yeah.
Can you show us where you apply this source?
Yeah, let's have a look. I think it would be in here. Now I've added these in like just in the last 24 hours because I'm just experimenting with things, but the main sort here is the list sort value. So it's
Okay. So I guess you're going to have many items here, right? And maybe a pagination one day.
yes, probably, yeah.
So I think the best way for you, because when you do that, yeah, the last step in here is done, the sort and filtering and pagination here is done on the front-end side, so on the loaded data.
Okay.
You would have to load everything and do this sorting on the front-end side. But I think in your case, it would be better to do it on Xano side. So basically on the query configuration, add an input on this endpoint, just add an input sort and send the sort to Xano, and then Xano would return the proper items, and you won't have to do it on the front-end side in here. So basically, you would take the result of your select input here, and you would refresh your collection once it's done.
I see. And what would that be achieved through like an if statement in the Xano endpoint? Like if it's this value, then return sorted like this sort of thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you have a value in the input with this thing, then create this variable or create this one, return
Okay,
it.
cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Haven't tried that. So yeah,
And you
right
create
on.
a workflow on change on your select input and just refresh the collection.
Okay, solid. All right, I'll give that a try.
All right, cool.
Thanks very much.
It was awesome. Thanks so much, everyone. It was great. Lots of different questions, so really appreciate it.
Fixed.
Talk to you next week, I guess. Talk to everyone next week. If you have any question in the community, as always, don't hesitate. And I just shared feedback.weweb.io. I saw your your request prolet, so added it on my side, but don't hesitate to share your product request there. We can't answer, unfortunately, there's too much volume, but we do read and go through all the requests and prioritize them as best we can. Right, talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in the world. Bye, everyone.
Bye.